So Simon,
Yeah.
what's the difference between Adolf Hitler and the Boston Marathon bomber?
I don't know.
The Boston bomber actually managed to end a race.
Yeah, no, I get that one.
All right, Simon,
Hello, how are you?
how you doing?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
okay, thanks.
fantastic. You're
What?
okay, thanks. We've had a nice little holiday, haven't we? Where have you been?
I've been sat in my flat like I have been for the last half a year.
All this lovely time off and this lovely spring weather, and you've been sat in your flat
Yeah, well, no,
doing
yeah,
what?
well, a bit working. I managed to sit down and actually watch TV because I was struggling to watch TV. I just sort of stare through it.
Watch
But
TV.
yeah,
You've
done
got
a few
races are back,
series.
son.
Oh
What are
right,
you
yeah, no, in the
doing?
last couple of weeks. So yeah, from March, the end of March, whatever. Yeah, I've done a few runs. Done a
Done
few
a few
runs. Yeah,
runs.
I
Where you
bet.
been running then?
All the circuit ones. So I saw you at Kent 50. I can't remember when that was. Was that like
Yeah,
mid-April?
yeah. I did the
Um,
Kent 38, but yeah.
yeah. And yeah, done a few circuit ones. Done one with running miles. What was it? Dinton. Like that course, Dinton.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And then more recently done a Saturn. All of these, I'm starting to get really pissed off now. Because obviously we're all coming back to it and all seeing each other and everything. So I turned up at Saturn, right, last week. The first person I saw was Beryl. You know Beryl, don't you? Because you did a bit of running with Beryl in
Lovely
lockdown.
Beryl.
Yeah.
Yeah. We ran in lockdown once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So get out of the car. Oh, Beryl, do you have to pay for parking here? I don't know. Okay, I'll ask George. Oh, ain't Rob doing well? Okay, fine.
My girl.
Yeah. So I'm like, right, Beryl, if anyone else asks me this, I'm just going to kill him because she's not the first. And
Oh, who else been asking about me or telling you about how amazing I am?
yeah, so I then walked to the race director, George, because
Yeah.
I want to inquire about the car parking situ.
Mm.
All right, George, what's the car parking situ? Oh, you got to pay. Right, great, pay. Go back. He says, all right, Simon, how you been? Yeah, not too bad. How are your times? Not bad. How's Rob getting on? Isn't he doing well? I just thought, do you know what? I've just told Beryl off for this.
Georgie.
I've just told Beryl off for this. And I, right, and then, so I did my run, didn't speak to anyone really, just did the run. And then after all this We Love Rob stuff, I crossed the line. I was looking a bit worse for wear. The guy in second just goes, "You put on weight." Oh. So how am I doing? How am I doing? Yeah, I have. Yeah.
He's correct, is he not?
Yeah, he's correct. I look
Are
like
you
a
the fat
mess.
one now?
I look like a mess. Yeah.
I keep telling people you're the fat one now, and I'm the fit one.
My got get varicose veins. Belly's gone pop. Rubbish. My knees don't work.
Rubbish.
My knees don't work.
You said 5 seconds. You just wonder. Your knees don't work.
No.
You've got hurty.
Yeah, if I go down a step, I did one with Phoenix. You were there again on Monday, wasn't
Always
it?
the same.
Always the same. Nobody asked me how you were then. No one asked me how you were then. Thank God. But yeah,
You could see how I was, mate. I was in front of you.
since then I can't go downstairs very comfortably. It's like a sharp stabbing pain to my knee. If anyone knows what this is, please get in touch because I'm a bit worried now because this is day 2 or 3. So I'm off it for a while.
I did say you're like a shit Wolverine, so give it a week at least, and then it might work.
A shit Wolverine.
Yeah, you're too good to see physios. You're Simon Staples. Doesn't that injury know who you are? It's supposed to fix itself.
So let's see. How have you been getting on? Not that I give a shit anymore.
How have I been getting on? Well, hasn't everyone been telling you how freaking amazing I am? It's good. It's nice to be back out doing some things. Having, at the moment, the model seems to be have a week off, then have a week that's just stupid, as in like a weekend of just running. And to be honest, I'm feeling pretty beaten up by it. My back doesn't work anymore. I think I have to wear supports on both knees, like I've got arthritis or something. I have to explain to people with like a birth certificate in hand, I'm 34. I think everyone's like, what? With those crows' feet? You're 45 at least, mate.
This is the best running podcast for consumer advice, isn't it? Jesus. Listen to this. It
is. I mean, if anyone knows a way to like fix faces and like with some sort of cream or something, then let me know because I'm clearly not into all that stuff. But obviously I saw you. I knew you had the little hurty. I didn't know how serious it was, so I was actually being really harsh. Our friend Karen Webber of Timing Monkey, the timing chimp herself, says to me after my third lap, Rick nods at me and goes, "That's really consistent, like times, Rob. Nicely done," something like
Oh,
that.
how's Rob
And then
getting
Karen
on?
goes, "You're smashing staples at the moment." I'm like, "Really?" I haven't been looking over my shoulder at every long climb at Denby's looking for him to try and keep away from him. And there you were walking around with your leg hanging off. And I was making fun of you to people. I was going around telling people specifically to tell you or ask you how I was. How
Really?
many did you get?
I'm
Yeah,
sick of it.
several.
I'm absolutely sick of it.
Sorry.
I must have had a few.
Yeah.
It just happens now, and I just ignore it. I just ignore
But
it.
not to brag, I have lost, I think, about 35 kilos
Yeah,
now, which
you've
is
lost half of me basically.
lost half. Which half? The nice one or the nasty one?
Oh,
No.
yeah. Yeah,
Half a
you've lost
Simon.
half of me.
Bloody
Yeah,
hell.
in weight.
Was that pre or post lockdown weight?
Do you know what? Since the gym's open, I've weighed myself twice, and it's me weight now. I think.
Oh wow. Well,
Yeah.
you've got all the muscle back now, haven't you?
Well, I've only had 3 weeks there, haven't we? At the
Yeah,
gym.
but you're broken. You go every day. It's like the running for you. See, I don't go to the gym. I just eat ice cream when I'm not running.
So how's the no drinking going? Assume that's slamming still, isn't it?
Yeah, still no real drink, let's say, but I've got because of an addict, got pretty addicted to like low alcohol drinks. I'll probably end up in the same capacity eventually.
What are you drinking?
Yes,
Toothpaste? Mouthwash?
yesterday say no, that's full stuff, mate. That's like shots for me. The full no the At the moment I'm staring at literally 7 bottles of what they call no Zecco, which is like 1% prosecco or something, and 4 bottles respectively of rosé, red wine, white wine, all aromatized, whatever that means. Right, answer on a postcard, people. Win a free shirt, which is just like no alcohol wine. But I swear to you, you got to try some of this, even if it's like between real
Well,
stuff.
do you know
tastes
what?
real.
I've literally Rob come back from Tesco's and I've been inspired. I've got a bottle of low alcohol white in the fridge on chill.
Oh no, he didn't.
Yeah, and I've got a bottle of
Yeah,
got a bottle of red that's no alcohol as well.
Oh, we should have a little tasting session on a podcast. That'll go well. Everyone can see you.
Shitting hell, that's entertainment, isn't it?
That is. Notes of no booze.
Should we talk
That's
about
good.
some sort of
Yes.
like relevant stuff that's actually coming up quite soon? So like
Relevant
all the
stuff coming
races
up
are coming
soon.
up, aren't they? All the races you got.
Yeah, I'm worried about the Hurties because there's some stuff happening. What have you got planned?
Well, it's all about completing this blimming Corona Centurion Grand Slam, isn't it? Which is South Downs way.
Yeah,
So I've got what
your
6
Corona
weeks?
Slam, my career slam.
6 weeks to
Yeah.
get these knees in fixed, or get an op to get them fixed. For
Come
South
on.
Downs Way 100,
Get
yeah,
you some braces for them, like Forrest Gump.
yeah, maybe. I'll do anything. I don't care. I think for that one, I've just got to finish it. I don't care if I'm crawling at the end.
Yeah, it's all
They've
right.
got to take my race bib off me, basically. That's the only way.
I know
I'm
the
doing it.
rules.
Yeah.
It's okay. We'll get you round. Just make sure you're wearing some sort of alarm or something or tracker, so I know which ditch you're in and I
Yeah.
can find you.
Fair dues. What have you got?
Same as you. Always the same.
Always the same.
So no.
You just follow me round, basically, don't you?
Well, yeah. How do you think this whole thing started? It's not like I'm going to be in front anyway, is it? At a race. No. So the thing I'm doing just to break the mold is I'm doing the SVN Viking 100 because well, why not run around the farm for a few hours? Free weekend. Doing South Downs with you, that's 3 weeks after. Sounds a bit silly.
Yeah.
Doing some Broken Phoenix 100 where you've only got 24 hours the week after doing another 100. So that will be a DNF of some sort.
Yeah.
And then you and I we've got a little date on the canal, haven't we, in July?
Yeah, no, I'm excited about that one as well.
I am, but I'm not. I can't plan that far ahead. Even in my more sort of sane version this year, I don't think that far ahead about anything.
Right, so this canal thing is Kennet and Avon Canal. So it starts at Paddington, Little Venice in London, and it finishes. I've now figured it's Bristol, not Bath. So we finish in Bristol.
CC, yeah.
Yeah. So it's 145 mile non-stop, 9 checkpoints, and you're not allowed to stop for more than 40 minutes.
Well, that's you screwed then, isn't it?
Yeah,
You're
pretty
done.
much. Yeah, I'm going to have an
You can't
alarm.
have any of your famous
I'm
naps.
going to have an alarm at each of these checkpoints, or
You
whenever
should
we
get one of
stop.
those things that means if you're motionless for a certain amount of time, it just like goes off.
Yeah, you need and we entered. They call it supported, don't they? To save us 30 quid, we've entered supported. So we've got to get some people to help us with this, as in literally, and they've got
Yeah.
to be present on this journey throughout. You know,
Answers on a postcard, people.
a
Who
crew,
wants a bit of
that will
this?
be there from 6 a.m. on the Friday morning through till I'm reckoning about 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night on the Saturday, maybe.
Yeah, if you're unlucky enough in the raffle to win me, you probably win an extra 10 hours on the canal, don't you? So,
Well,
however,
when's the
what
cut
I
off?
could
Is it like
promise,
4 in the morning on the Sunday?
yeah, it's 45 hours,
Oh.
starting 6 a.m. on Saturday. So that's probably like 3 a.m. No, 6 a.m. Friday, so probably 3 a.m. on Sunday
Right.
morning.
This is basically bad because
Lovely.
I'm sort of like seeing Southdowns Way now as a bit of a warm up to this. That's insane, isn't it? That's stupid.
Very ill,
Yeah.
very ill.
Yeah.
Totally different things. But I basically got goaded into this, and because you'd entered, I thought, well, it'd be silly not to do this one. Although you could have picked it the year it was going the other way, so it'd finish in London. I could go home. Then again, I think we'd have one hell of a party in Bristol
Yeah,
Harbour when
I
we
don't
finished.
think I've been to Bristol. In fact,
Oh, I used to work there. It's lovely.
You used to
Very
work there?
hipster. Yeah, there's karaoke bars, which is obviously what I'm thinking about, not the canal race for 145 miles. But yeah, it's pretty hip. It's pretty swanky.
Shit. Oh,
It's a good Tesco as well.
good Tesco.
Yeah, that's where I used to buy lunch. Anyway, enough about my
Yeah,
career.
yeah.
But
Right.
that's the thing that's furthest off. But it's because it's like a big star in my weird running universe. It's like it's very visible to me now, and I'm a bit worried about it because it's 3 months away, 2 months away.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'll tell you, I'm excited about Southdowns Way. I just want that to happen now. Even though I've got these knees, I want it to happen now. I'll still turn up tomorrow
Yeah,
if it
you've
was
got
tomorrow.
your team sorted, have you?
Yeah, I've got a problem with cars that have just been thrown, which is a bit annoying. But I'll get that sorted. Yeah, I've got team. You got a team?
Problem with cars. I think I have, as of this morning, I think I've got both a pacing plan and a team. So now I've just got to not
he's done
weird
a
out my
spreadsheet,
team
has
with
he?
my
You've
very
done a
intense
spreadsheet.
spreadsheet. Yeah, I've got a spreadsheet. No, but they usually like it. They're like, oh, at least you've let us know when we can maybe have a little break. And yeah, I'm good to my teams. I pay all their expenses and stuff. I don't know what you do. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty good to my people. So parties at the end and all that, champagne.
Meals
expense spared.
meals get expensed if they're like the Tesco meal deal. So that's £3.
As long as you retained your receipt, you are an auditor, aren't you?
Yeah.
So have you kept your receipt for your sandwich, Sandra?
Don't. I did my expenses. I did my expenses for work today. That took half a day. I haven't done them for months.
Oh, I'm gonna crack a tin.
You're going to crack it in? What are you having?
Talking to you again. It's been too long.
What are you having?
A brewdog nanny state. I'm pushing the boat out tonight, boy.
See, yeah, I don't agree. I've had the non-alcoholic beers, and I don't agree with them.
They've improved massively the last 2 years. I used to try this and be like, nah, not a real thing. So much better now, promise you.
Yeah, I think we really need to get back to like running, don't we? Really, I think we lost our way a bit of it.
Doing running, talking about running, or we were talking about running. It's just other stuff involved, like the fact that you have to eat and drink to stay alive.
Yeah. Shall we get your guest out then?
Get my guest out.
Yeah,
he's my guest, isn't he?
He is
this
your
time.
guest. Yeah, I've got no idea. I've got no idea who the chap is.
Gone a little bit left field with this one, so just briefly, because I talked to the chap in a mo. His name's Manol Dimitrov. Guess which country that comes from?
I don't know.
So Manol is, well, I was saying this. I don't know who this is insulting, but he's my Bulgarian Simon Staples.
Okay.
He's fast, like you are.
You got one in each country, have you?
Well, we're just covering Europe and mainland UK at the moment. So any Americans listening, if they feel like they're the American you, then we'll do interviews or something. But we'll eventually have some sort of weird reality show. No, but Manol's he's a friend of a friend's girlfriend who I met a few years ago.
Say this again. He's a friend. He's a friend.
He's a friend. He's a friend
of a friend's girlfriend. Yeah, okay, I get it.
University girlfriend. and now he's my friend.
Yeah.
And and now we're running friends. So, but yeah, let him speak for himself. It's Manol Dimitrov.
Hey, all right.
Hey, another guest. I know he is. Hey, Manol,
Hi.
how are you doing, mate?
I'm here, mate, but I couldn't.
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here.
I said, how you doing, Manol? Long
Technical
time no see, my friend.
long time indeed. Yeah. Well, I saw you last week.
Yeah,
Before
took me
that,
for a
it
little
was 18
PB, didn't you?
I took you for a jog. Yeah.
So what's the
Well,
deal with
splendid,
you
that,
two?
weren't we?
What's the deal with you
Hey,
two? How do you two know each other? Because Rob just really hashed it up, and I didn't really understand.
Yeah, I botched it. You're going to have to explain, man. Remember when you obviously remember the day we met, right?
I don't remember the date. I remember it was after the Reading half marathon. I think
It was, yeah. Do you know where?
it was some shitty little cafe. I think
It was the
it was dire. I remember it. It was bleak.
it was in the Oakford Club, famous for the Oakford burger. That's why I was there. Why were you there?
Oh, fuck yeah! It was. It was a restaurant. Okay, yeah.
A restaurant.
That's an
It's a
overstatement.
place
It was
that
sort of
sells
eating.
burgers and decent craft beer. So those are the two reasons I was there. What brought you to that?
I just rolled it. Well, I think because you were there and you had spoken to Jess, so that she wanted to introduce us to each other. Jess is my partner.
And the rest is history, right?
The rest is history. That was what 8, 9, maybe no,
Yeah,
8 years ago. Yeah, 24.
almost a decade, isn't it? Yeah.
It's weird how runners sort of get to know runners, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, you almost think, oh right, we'll be mates because we run, we both run, let's say, but.
Yeah,
But you must have been looking at me thinking, what the hell is that piece of shit? Like with the burger and his chops, dribbling beer. Come on.
No.
Be honest.
Don't judge. I don't judge.
Well, I'm just going to say, Mano, because
I do judge, but not.
you've sent us over a few things, right? You sent us over a few things. Say you're both runners. Rob,
Sure.
let's do a bit of top trumps here. Rob, what's your 10k? What's your 10k time?
No, we
My
don't.
10k time, 53 minutes.
Mano, what's your 10k time?
10k, the fastest I've ran is 34 minutes.
Okay, that'll do. 1-0.
Simon, what's yours?
I don't know. I think I'm around 37 minutes. So yeah,
You'll be as quick as Manol one day.
blown out the water. Rob, what's your fastest marathon?
This was a long time ago. This was 2014. I ran there, so
Okay.
What's not?
early days.
Well, yeah.
Well, what's happened
Mate,
now?
don't you?
What's happened now then?
Well-
What's happened?
Well, I haven't. This was like peak training, big miles, as in big weekly mileage. Now I'm doing. So I lived in Bournemouth for 2 years, or just over 2 years, and I joined the Bournemouth Running Club there because I used to work in Bournemouth. This was like tail end of 2012, and that's when So this is like my little running journey in a nutshell. But 2012, so 2012, I ran the Berlin Marathon. That was like one of the gateways into running, and then I ran 2:57, I think, or something like that.
Wow, was that your first one?
No, the very first one I did was Barcelona in like 6 months earlier in March 2012.
Right.
That was still when I was at Union, and that was, I don't know, like 3:30 or 3:40, something like that.
Potato.
Well, I was fucked. I went into it with like shin splints, like inflamed bursae on the side of my hips, like my knees were fucked. Everything was fucked, and I just hobbled the whole thing.
I ran the marathon of my life last week, and it took me an hour and 10 minutes longer than that.
The time doesn't matter, does it?
That doesn't sound like you. All right, Simon, sorry, you carry on your top trumps.
Yeah, the old man I would have said.
Top trumps. Okay. Your marathon PB, Rob.
4:33 London, 2015.
Manol, yours?
Don't laugh.
Did I laugh?
So we're going. Okay, so my marathon PB 2:40 in Frankfurt in 2013.
You know that's
again,
you know that's championship time, right?
Yeah, I've since I've done the London Marathon with a championship start twice, and I've failed. Well, I haven't failed, but I had a shit time. Let's say.
Okay, but what's that like? Starting there, is that the same as the Good for Age start line, or is that a totally different start line?
Yeah, I've never started the Good for Age. So when I ran, like 2013 was, so I joined when I kind of started training properly, was about November 2012, and then so I did then Manchester and then Frankfurt in the same year, and then only then the following year 2014 I did London, so the first time, and it was like it's a big tent basically on a field up the road where I live in Greenwich, so it's literally up on one of the the Blackheath.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're in the tent and all the peasants are outside like me.
All the tent. No, well, I think there's like an elite tent as well, and then there's the championship tent. I'm not too sure, to be honest. But you go through a gate and it's just a fucking field. It's
Do you get given a free Lucasade or anything like that?
No,
there's
no hospitality.
Do you get a premium bag drop or anything like that? No?
Well, yeah, there's a designated bag drop. Otherwise, you got to mix with like 40, 50,000 people or whatever.
The serfs.
You've got to mix with the plebs.
No, as in... No, I don't mean it in that way. You've got to go... It's a separate area. So if you want to drop your bag with the other runners, you've got to like trek across the park, and I don't even know. It's a colossal mission, isn't it? So
you mentioned training, right? I mean, I guess Rob and I used to know that word and know what it meant. I don't think we really do anymore for events because we just don't. We just fly from one to the other.
No, not in any kind of textbook way. No, it's incidental if it happens, I'd say.
So I mean, how did you go about training, and how does that get you a 240?
Well, that was all. So 2012, when I, let's say, first started running or discovered running, even I did a lot of like mid and long runs, and that was it.
And what are you calling those? What's a mid run? What's a long run?
So like when I first signed up to the Barcelona run, I thought I'll just go out and run 14 miles, and the longest I'd run before was like 8 miles, let's say, but like a one-off.
Mm-hmm.
So in my first week or like second week, let's say, of running, I did like 60 miles, and I was completely fucked.
Yeah.
But then I almost more or less maintained that. But then I kind of started thinking, right, one day I'll run slower, the next day I'll run a bit quicker, or kind of go by feel. So I used to work in Winchester for a bit. So I'd run from Winchester to Southampton fairly regularly. That naturally kind of, I lost weight, and then obviously you just get fitter and fitter. So.
Okay, so was there structure then? I mean, you're doing different tempos and.
Well, not for the first year, not in 2012. Then 2013, when I joined Bournemouth, like the running club in earnest.
Yeah.
Then I started training because there's a guy down there called Steve Way who used to lead and design a lot of the sessions. I say. I don't know if you've heard of Steve Way.
Big fat Steve Way, yeah. Who got thin, gave up his fags and his tins.
From a big boy smoking and eating burgers every day to a 2:14 marathon time or something like that.
Am I the next Steve Way then?
You could be, Robert.
Good stuff. So was he like your sensei then in Bournemouth?
He was the sensei, let's say, and a few others. There was like a bunch of them that were 220, let's say, 230 as well.
Previous guest Pete Thompson on as well, right? Pride of Britain.
He's ran a 220, for example, and it was all off the back of these sort of big volume weeks and kind of big volume training sessions as well, you know. So you would do a lot of running at marathon pace, a lot of running at threshold.
Yeah, I mean,
usual interval sessions.
What sort of distance? What sort of distance do you consider the right one to be running at threshold pace? How long should you be keeping that up for?
Well,
or
threshold, you can do 20 minutes. It yields like a. So it depends. So there's like lactate threshold, there's tempo as well. But let's say lactate threshold or near that is where it allows you to push your lactate threshold point, which then makes every other pace easier, and it builds aerobic capacity as well. So that's like, so you want to build sub-threshold capacity as well.
Yeah, so distance-wise, though, for that sort of thing, I'm always thinking sort of a 5K.
Yeah, 20 minutes of at that pace. Let's say that would be your 10-mile pace, for example. And then if you want to go a little bit longer, or maybe let's say 20 to 30 minutes at your 10-mile pace, then if you do, let's say 40 minutes, you need to slow down a bit, let's say, and do half marathon pace, for example. But it's more or less that same kind of pace.
So how long do you bomb it for? Is that like 5Ks typically, or 5 miles? Is that you're kind of building your tempo, bomb it, I feel like I can taste blood sort of?
Yeah, well, towards the end. So you would either do a solid block, so warm up, then the tempo, the threshold part, and then warm down, obviously.
I'm sorry you lost me at warm up because I don't think I've literally ever done that. No, I used to. No. That's my problem.
Well, if you were to do it more, you would.
Yeah, and you see, now I do that. I do that when we're going hell for leather. So I will ploddy jog a mile to warm up, and then I'll go batshit crazy for 5K to get a good 5K.
See, Manol, we used to be at races. I think, Manol, you were there when I did my quickest half, and before it started, obviously I was there eating a Mars bar and having a cappuccino. No word of a lie. Did you not run up and down the road like a mile?
Yeah, just to loosen my legs.
And I was just sat on the curb watching you.
No, you also did a warm up back then.
Did I?
I love that. I can just imagine Rob just cracking open a tin and chomping on a Mars bar whilst he's watching the proper people.
Tin, it was a coffee. The proper people. Yeah, Manol, do you want to take over the podcast?
That was the prestigious Reigate half.
That was the Reigate half. Yeah, I didn't know what Reigate on North Downs were then.
Oh, yeah, what year did you do that one, boys? What year did you do that?
2015, I want to say.
2015, yeah.
Oh, okay. I paced that one year. I can't remember which year it was.
Did you?
Yeah, had a flag. Had a flag.
Had a little flag. So I was going to say on the training front, man, as a little aside, because you when you were saying stuff about thresholds and lactates, I remember you lent me a book once, but when I used to come and stay at yours, race or something, we fight. Nah, but we would fight like cats and dogs. You get so worked up about the fact that I just didn't care about training, and I was almost just trying to piss you off. Simon, is any of this sounding familiar?
Yeah.
I'd just be difficult for the sake of it, and you made me take this book by Lydiard or Rudyard home, and it was like some famous New Zealand trainer who like made people do 100-mile weeks, and that all sounded mental to me. Yeah, I know, he's a legendary coach.
You end up doing that now. You end up doing.
I know, but at that point, I was like sat on your sofa, like eating an Easter egg or something.
You're a bit of a monk, mate.
Good mom, yeah, thanks. But anyway, I just had to, because and when Si prepared for his first marathon, because I don't know if you've listened to his diatribe, I literally trained off of 2 training plans. Yeah. I'm doing your story, so I picked the hardest one each day, whereas I ran twice around the football pitch. So, but I have, what I meant by the incidental training is, you must do this too. I know you go on your lunch break at work, you do bomb round 5K, 5 miles, and then some evenings you just trundle 10 miles or whatever. It just is what it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, back when we were allowed to go to work, and I ran 5 miles every day at the quickest pace I could, basically, most days.
Every single day you went out and just blasted 5 miles.
Yeah, I mean, this was like back end of 2019, 2020. Not every day, maybe 3 times a week, and then I would go over the marathon distance once a weekend. So do sort of like a slower time on feet 6-hour thing at the weekend, and that'd be it. And I found just by doing that, marathon times were dropping like horse draws.
Yeah, for sure. That'll have I mean, you're basically doing some, let's say, tempo work in the week, and then you're doing a big old plot of the weekend.
He's trying to say something nice about it. I know what's worrying in there, because
it sounds rational. It sounds relatively rational.
I know, but it's like, where's the interval sessions?
It's not scientific.
Where's the cross training? I know. I'm reading the book of Lydiard here.
You don't have to read any of these books. It's fucking simple. How like the general training approach is, you go hard one day, you recover the next day or the day after, however long it takes.
You think you should have a rest day?
Well, you can have a rest day if you feel like it.
Or a walk day or something.
What's your opinion? What's your opinion on Rob doing like a marathon on the Saturday, then just going back and doing one on the Sunday for the sake of it?
That's why. Well, if you can. My legs will be ruined. Obviously, his are ruined as well, but he can trudge on. Whereas I just give up. Like,
give up.
No. Well, I wouldn't have, and I've quit loads of races as well, and I'm not proud of it. But I don't have the same. Obviously, level of motivation that Rob does to do these kind of long.
There's no need or desire to do that, right? I mean.
It's difficult to, but he's got. I mean, everybody's different. Everyone's got their motivators. So. Yeah,
but you well in our history to date, mate. If I could say, I've always thought you're performance runner. I'm probably
just because I try.
Probably purely endurance. So if you think about all the attributes, performance, I'm like a blunt ledge. And then endurance, there's a big spike point in that way, and stubborn over there as well.
You could be relatively competitive, let's say. Obviously, like, you're on a journey right now.
Could win the Special Olympics, yeah. It's okay. I get it. I'll stop.
Yeah, exactly. So
on a journey. Yeah.
Everybody's got their. Yeah.
I mean, Manol, you
What's your journey, Manol? Anyway, sorry, no, I'm going to ask you. What got you into? Because you've done a lot of these road races you've been talking about. I know you as a bit of a mountain goat. We actually happened to go out to Colorado, and I got to see some of that firsthand. It was nice little holidays, wasn't it?
Yeah,
you drove me around in our. Was it a Mustang? Was that the other one?
No, we rented a shitty big old bus SUV.
Big old bus. Yeah, the gas.
Yeah.
But we went to Mount Ebert, didn't we, in Colorado, which is the highest
peak in Colorado. We ran.
Yeah, and you just yeeted up it, and then we're running back down.
At that point.
Yeah. Because it's like, I'm not slowing you down. You yeet yourself up it.
So that was in 2017. Yeah. So that was like a fit. I would say that was a fit summer, and then I did the baby UTMB at the end of that summer.
The OCC, right?
Yeah, the OCC.
How was your journey there? Because you have to gain qualification points, right? So what races did you do?
I had like there's this it's the equivalent of power of 10 for mountain running, and you get a score on there, and then you can use that score as it's a bit like the championship start for London.
Right. So how did you come about getting the points?
You get an automatic entry. It's nothing to do with the points. Well, so you accumulate points. You can accumulate points from races and then enter the ballot. So it's like that's the prerequisite. You have to have done several mountain races, let's say. But then if you place well in let's say mountain races, you accumulate points and they contribute to this kind of ranking you have. So I, for example, have something like 730 points on there, and let's say the top mountain runners like Jim Walmsley and Killian will have like 900, let's say, which is the maximum.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, the OCC asks for 700 for an automatic entry. You know.
Okay.
So it's the same principle as the championship start. It's just they use points. The mountain races are super variable, distance, elevation, terrain. So you can't almost compare them. So it's very difficult to say, right, you need a specific time to...
Yeah. It's like a stupid question as what's your average marathon time?
But just some of the statos on this race, right? So you say it's the baby UTMB, still a 55k race, I think it is, and about 3,600 meters of elevation gain. So, I mean, Si and I were watching a video of this about a year ago or something, and when we're talking about UTMB, it's like the rocks and the ups and downs are mental. And you came, I know this doesn't sound like much, but you came 63rd in that, right? There must have been hundreds of people doing that. So you're pretty quick on the mountains.
Yeah, so that's where the only reason, that's why let's say I excel more than I do on the road, but only because I can run downhill. Other than that,
oh god, yeah,
completely not. Yeah, so yeah, relatively average. So all the training on the road, obviously, let's say applies to the uphill running to an extent because you gain, and if you do strength work and if you hit the hills every now and then, you gain like an adequate amount of strength, but the rest is still like a solid aerobic base and the ability to run it like a high heart rate uphill, let's say, for a long time. But then when it comes to the downhill, I can perform, let's say, relatively better than the rest of the field. So I either make up time or I overtake. So a lot of that's your
physicality, but also we chatted about this morning around Manol. You've got I think, relatively to someone like me who's a fraidy cat, you're a bit fearless. Like I've seen you run down something that's probably about 80 degrees steep, like literally
80 degrees, mate.
No, but literally like an ibex, just like jumping from rock to rock. And you used to tell me something like the quicker you move your feet, the less chance there is you'll fall over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
that's nuts.
So I grew up literally 20 minutes away from a mountain when I was a child in
Bulgaria,
deep dark east of Bulgaria, the east of the ex-communist bloc. So I'd go for hikes with my parents, obviously, at the weekend. Then in the winter, I'd ski a lot, and like it's always been natural for me. So when I go to the mountains, and then when I started, like after at university, we started me and a friend climbing. So we climbed Mont Blanc and a few other big alpine peaks, and then that kind of opened up another dimension, let's say. And then we started skiing a lot as well, like climbing and then skiing, and so it all complements each other. All of the kind of the mountain sports complement themselves.
Loads of like legit runners like Killian started out doing that. There's a bunch who were like cross countries and like mountains.
Ski mountaineering's their main sport in the winter.
Jumping about a bit, But I swear I saw you both on Rob's bloody North Downs Way video that he brings out once a year.
Yeah.
It seems
He said the dirty word. He doesn't like talking about it. What is
So-
he constantly going to ask about that?
Why is it? What's the dirty word?
the North Downs Way. Rob just doesn't shut up about it. And are you the
It's a big
guy?
event.
Are you the guy that did the Box Hill repeats or something, waiting for him? Because you paced him right on that race.
Yeah, pace. Yeah, we spent what 2, 3, 4 hours together, maybe even.
A good 5 or 6 hours, and your head.
I
batteries
ran in the
out. I left you.
This is 2016. Yeah, so I ran in the morning on Box Hill. I did like 10 miles, and then it wasn't like it wasn't like a hard run or anything. Just I plodded around. Steady.
Yeah.
And then I thought, it would make it a big training day if I then went and paced Rob.
So which section did you do?
A lot of it with Rob was hiking. So we did. I can't remember.
Manol took me from Knockholt to
So the 50-mile mark.
Through Rusum, and then to what I believe is Ranscombe Farm. So about 20 miles you did with me, and then Max took over the last 30.
Yeah, 20 miles. Yeah, and that was like your quickest stint, I think.
Honestly,
I gave you a bit of an injection.
I would say, and I think you were surprised you didn't have to like force it down me too much. I sort of cracked on probably more than you expected, and hopefully bitched a little bit less than you expected.
And then we nearly got ravaged by a fucking giant dog as well.
The dog. Manol jumps and
it was like
behind me. He says, "That dog's gonna eat us."
It was like one of those monster fucking dogs. It was huge as well.
It was. It jumped over the gate.
It jumped over the gate. You could see his head kind of like poking above as it kept jumping.
When Si said about you doing the Box Hill repeats, I'm pretty sure either I hallucinated, or at one point you must have said to me, "I didn't expect you to make it this far, did I?"
Mate, I said that when I picked you up at 50 miles. I didn't expect to make it.
Hey, man,
got lost in outside of shot.
Hey, I've got a limited filter, so I'm usually quite blunt.
That's good for me, though.
Well, there's going to be so. I mean, these hundreds are coming around thick and fast now, and I think a lot of people that listen to this are either going to go into their first one this month, SVN, or they've got some of these Centurion ones that you've catered for with Rob. In your experience, I mean, what sort of tips would you give these people who are doing what you did basically on the day? I mean, don't go and trudge out a 10-miler before you do that.
But obviously, arrive fresh, fresh as fuck, as fresh as you can be, and well, obviously, you need to be loaded up on energy, carbs, to an extent, obviously, not too much, and then, so I'm actually the worst person to give. Well, not the worst person to give advice, but a tip would be, Rob knows me, and he would disagree, but a tip would be to just persevere, which is something that I don't do very well. So as soon as I experience some sort of like discomfort, I'm like, is this, well, not like mild discomfort, let's say, but if I'm not feeling it, I will bin it, I will abandon it. But it's inevitable that you will feel shit and down, and
you're talking even as the pacer, you'll feel that.
Exactly.
Let me reflect on what Manol did as a pacer that I think actually would be cracking advice to other people, and then you can come up with some of your own, mate. But I think if you know your runner, so when he opened with that, I was like, now he's going to say, basically, he was just blunt as fuck with me. Not in a like giving a talking to way, but when he was tired, he'd tell me he was tired. I burst. I was crying with laughter because he was telling me he was tired after we hit mile 65 for me.
This was me being vulnerable, I'm telling you I'm tired. I'm not going to pretend I'm some sort of like fucking robot and I don't get tired. I do get tired.
Then you said, "Why are you not tired?" I'm tired. Your air torch batteries were running out, and you asked me if you could have some of mine.
You were buzzed as well. You were buzzing. You were also in like some sort of delirious state as well. I was very lucid, So then I was quite lucid and I could feel super tired, whereas you were like fucking off on cloud 9.
Away somewhere. Yeah, but I was loving the fact that you just weren't sugarcoating anything. And if you're friends and you're helping your friends around that, just be what they expect. Don't like make a big thing of it. Just
No,
be
for sure.
legit. You were exactly what I needed then. You made me laugh. You pissed me off badly, but it
Yeah,
just all
yeah.
kept me going.
It was predictable, our journey together, you know.
But
Maybe, and that's
It
why
always is.
maybe we're looking forward to it or not. I don't know.
yeah, but that's what it is, though, right? It is a journey. It's a proper adventure. I mean, I
For sure,
personally think that I'm very grateful for pacers, but they get a bit out of it, don't they? No.
I've never gone longer than 55 fucking Ks. So.
I bought Manor a hot dog when we finished. That was the last thing
dog.
he tested with. He said, "Can you lend me some money?" And I just happened to have run
Oh, yeah,
100 miles with my wallet.
I'd also just come off a nice, well, relatively nice 5-hour snooze in the
The van.
support crew van. Yeah. Anyway, so the other big thing is obviously you got to stay nourished, and if you stay nourished, you'll be all right, basically.
What, big bag of pretzels? That's what we shared, isn't it?
Bag of pretzels, get some salt in. People eat fucking cheese and salami and shit. I've never understood that. But
Yeah.
whatever works for you, whatever you want to eat. Although I did eat as a pacer, obviously. I ate crisps at one of the stations, but
Yeah. We enjoyed a sundown together, though, didn't we? That was nice. And you told me I was quite good at running down hills, which coming from a goat is pretty good.
I recognise
Lifted my spirits.
Oh. Man,
and you showed me plenty of places. Just harping back to it because of we didn't talk much about your mountain racing, but you taken me all sorts of weird places to watch you do races, and I've just played around in the hill with like some sort of special.
We went to Italy one year, a place called Livigno, which is like and ski resort. But there was a sky race there as well, which was absolutely savage. Actually, it was so hot, and we didn't acclimatise at all. So it was like from sea level to running it over 2,000 meters.
And this is running on scree, isn't it? And
it was
dust on the top of a mountain peak. Yeah.
No trails up there because it's quite high, so it's just rock.
Mental. See, that scares the hell out of me. Tell other people who want to do that how they get involved.
Well, actually, there's now a ton of races. Back then, I mean, there's a circuit called the Sky Running Circuit, which is the races I usually target. So they're fairly short, let's say, but they've got a lot of elevation. So you'll do, let's say, at least one, but 2 or 3 actually. I think the minimum requirement is you have 2 big 1,000 meter ascents and descents.
Yeah.
So at least 2,000 meters. It can be over 20k and longer. So usually they kind of vary from half marathon distance, but with 2,000 meters to the kind of the UTMB OCC 55k with 3.6. So
a lot of climb.
A lot of climb and a lot of descent, yeah, which makes them, they call them, the Euros call them sky races. So.
But not necessarily like marathon distance, are they? They can be shorter and way sharper.
They're arbitrary distances.
Yeah. So I couldn't get that through my head when you were doing that. I couldn't get through my head when you were doing that. I was like, I'll enter the marathon. And you said, no, you won't.
You've got to acclimatise as well for these sort of things. So you need to spend a bit more time out there, ideally. And not that you can ever fully acclimatise, but...
Yeah, but having had to help you back to the hotel room that time after you just going all out on that sky race, I'm like, yeah, that must have been legit hard if you are basically a vegetable come down that hill.
Vegetable, man. I needed support. I needed care.
Feed you.
Yeah.
It sounds like you've been to some crazy places to run some pretty crazy races. Have you got a top 3?
Top 3, yeah. They're probably. They're all mountain
bronze
to say. So I spent a lot of time in Chamonix in general. So I would say maybe as a place that I attribute a fair bit to, I would say the Chamonix Marathon, which is like a fairly seminal event on the calendar every year in the summer.
Why that one?
Well, it's because it's a bit like the London Marathon, but in the mountain race calendar.
I ain't done it. You have to qualify for that. I'm genuinely interested.
Yeah, no, well, you didn't used to. So I first did it in 2012. That was like my gateway into mountain running. So that was, almost 8-9 years ago. Back then, it was literally, still quite sizable, 1,500 people or so, but you just sign up. And then every year it got busier and busier and busier. And now you have to enter a ballot. And then there's the...
So is that number 3 or is that number 1? Chamonix Marathon.
Let's say that's number 3.
Okay, so working down to number 2.
Then there's one. There's the Monte Rosa. The Monte Rosa is a mountain range in Italy. It spans Italy and Switzerland actually. So I think 2015. There's it's essentially the equivalent of the UTMB. So it's a circuit. It's about 170k. I haven't done the full kind of UTMB equivalent, but I've done the stage race. So you do a stage in each from point to point. You start in Italy and you go to Switzerland on day 1, and then from Switzerland, I think, or maybe you stay in Italy. Yeah, you stay in Italy day 2, and then day 3 and 4 you go to Switzerland.
Nice.
So that's something I've never done. Never done stage race.
It fucks you
Yeah,
as well.
imagine.
Probably harder than, because I went guns ho in like the day 1 and 2. Well, relatively steady, not like I blasted, but your body gets so damaged from like the altitude and the downhill running especially. And then day 3, I was like a vegetable, so I plodded. Like
you messaged me, you messaged me like when you were in your little camp or whatever on day 2 or something, and said you were doing really well at the time, but there's some legit like Swiss and French runners there who were ahead of you, and you said you were struggling, and I think you said something along the lines of like you were going to try and take on the yak spirit. Obviously, you're referencing my plodding, and you're just going to plod it home. So,
I finished it.
Did I inspire you to finish it, mate?
You did, mate. You were an inspiration for sure. And I had a friend as well that was in the race. He was a little bit behind, and we finished together.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That sounds legit. That's organised by Lizzie Hawker, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Lizzie Hawker organises that. And it's still going, so I highly recommend. That's a proper mountain adventure as well. And so the UTMB is like I said, let's say the mountain equivalent of something like the London Marathon, and it attracts thousands of people. Whereas this one is a bit more, let's say, raw as well, and it's a lot harder because it's at altitude and the terrain is much trickier. So
we'll go do that one together, Manol, and hold hands over the finish line then.
One day, mate.
Rather you boys. Okay, so
then,
what is the big all-time fave?
The number one is it's a race in Zermatt. It's part of this sky running circuit. It's called the Matterhorn Sky Race.
I've heard that Matterhorn.
Yeah, so you start in Zermatt. Matterhorn is our famous Toblerone mountain. So you start in Zermatt and you do a kind of a big circuit and you take in 3 or 4 big climbs. You take on 3 or 4 big climbs, so it ends up almost being like 3,600, I think, is the total elevation that you do, and again, it's at altitude as well. But it's the scenery is you get this kind of panoramic view of a bunch of 4,000 meter peaks as you get to one of the higher points, and then the Matterhorn's mostly in sight throughout the whole race as well. And yeah, it is special as an environment, as a town as well, and everything.
Sounds beautiful. I need to go see some of this stuff if I can actually survive any of it.
We do. I reckon it's coming though. I reckon we're going to get there. We are going to get there. All races are coming back, boys. Don't worry.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm scared of heights, but we'll get over that.
So have you got anything coming up?
Cool.
Have you got anything coming up at all, man, or is that it? Are you off races at the moment, or?
The last few years have been 2018 was a big year. I did a lot, and since then I haven't done much. And this year, last year a race got cancelled that I wanted to do in Switzerland again. It's called the Eiger PK. So that's supposedly going ahead this year in July. So, and then there's a new race in Wales on Snowdonia, which is like another kind of sky run, but it's new. So.
Is that done by Mikey?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And sorry, and you're in
Apex running.
You're in for both of these?
Yeah, I'm in for both of these. Yeah.
How long is the Snowdonia one?
I think it is. Yeah, the snow. There's varying distances.
50 miles.
There's a 30k, there's a 50k, and a 100k. So I've signed up for the 50k, which is my preferred.
That's as local as sky running is going to get, though, isn't it? So if I'm going to do one, that might be the one.
Yeah, should go.
Yeah. Sign up, Rob.
Well, I've got to run a canal in July, or I would. My hands are tied here. Oh no, you said that was the other one. Manol, let us know when the other one is, and we'll come along.
Okay, yeah, it's in September, I think, the second weekend.
My birthday, lovely.
Perfect.
We'll make a thing of it.
Well, look, thanks for coming on and giving your time up and talking to us, mate. It's been
thank you. Yeah.
We've not really had a mountain goat on before.
We've had the goat now.
Appreciate that.
Whole new.
I appreciate you having me for sure. Yeah.
Whole new world of racing there to be explored, really.
You could start training now, Si. So can I suppose.
Oh. Yeah.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah. Cheers, boys. And
See everyone.
yeah.
Next time.
See you next time. Cheers, guys.